Let me start by saying, I have no beef with the Imperial Fists. With the new Assault Terminators announced, I'm really feeling an Oops All Terminators army, but I'm gonna need some fancier ones in there to lead them. As I generally lean towards Salamanders, this Imperial Fist iconography is gonna have to go. There's 7 pieces here that scream Imperial Fists, so we're gonna have to take care of that. Looking at the hammer, I'm thinking it gets to survive. I don't think I can successfully shave that down, but as an added bonus, it looks sweet. Of all the pieces, I'm the most concerned about the shield here. That fist is nestled right in the middle of a bunch of other details. I'll probably take off just that top part. We'll see what we can do here. Tiny sanding blocks. This chest piece seems like it's going to be the easiest one to tackle, so let's start from the bottom. Whenever possible, I like to push the tip of the knife with my thumb. It keeps it controlled so you're not going all willy-nilly on cuts. This'll work. Of course, I just noticed that charm there. I really do feel like I'm just breaking things. I don't know what this is. This is probably now just a generic metal-looking hanging from a loop item. This leg armor should also be pretty easy to tackle. It's just shaving it down, sanding it out. More than serviceable. I knew for a fact going in on this one, it was either going to end up broken or mangled. It's just a small space to work in. I figured the nippers were the best choice here, but they ended up going a little deeper than I wanted. Naturally, I exacerbated the situation by diving in with a hobby knife. At this point, I'm just hoping the primer's going to cover that. These tassels are getting mangled, no question. This is a level of detail work I just don't have the skills for. But I made this choice. It's rough. I just hate living with the consequences of my actions. Thankfully, this one should be very easy. Just like that, perfectly generic iron halo. And here's the beast. It's a shame I'm gonna mangle such a good looking shield. I keep telling myself it'll look fine with paint, but that's gotta be a bit of a lie. Well, let's get them together. Turns out this little chest covering here, optional, and I like the look without it, so we're gonna keep it like that. The cloak is going to stay off to make it a little easier to paint. That said, I need it to line up the shoulder pad, so blue tack it is. It doesn't look too crazy so far. Let's get this primed and see what we got. The shield is looking pretty rough, so we'll see what we can do about that. The cloak, though, not too shabby at all. Tassels are mostly intact. I'm not upset with how that turned out. Let's throw on a couple coats and make this a real salamander. As an average painter, I'm trying to keep this molten lava armor cloaky thing going on with my salamanders, so it comes out different every time. Let's see what we get. This is probably going to be the most miserable part for me, so we'll start with the cloak. We'll start with some black so we can get some molten rocks. It's just rocks. I always struggle with this kind of stuff because there's a sort of perfect asymmetry found in nature. Humans like to find patterns in things instead of just letting all that randomness be, so fighting against that is always going to be rough. I almost forgot there is an entire chunk of cloak stuck on his shoulder. I am sure I will forget that again. Painting in the lines has never been my strong suit. This could have gone worse. It's right about here where I ask myself, why couldn't you just have been happy with like a plain red cloak? Why are you doing this? This is hard. And just like magic, I've covered up too much of the red. This whole cloak is basically my version of the Dropsite Massacre. I'm battered and broken, but there's really no choice but to keep going. As I'm editing this footage, I think to myself, gee, I really liked it when it was, multicolored instead of covering everything in the same shade, but it's a little late for that now. I mean, that said, I feel like a big part of miniature painting is exactly that. You do things, you have a vision, sometimes it doesn't work out, but you keep doing it. And you keep practicing. One of these days, maybe it works out just the way you're seeing it in your head. Hasn't happened for me yet, but hey, I have a backlog that's probably greater than my lifetime already, so I don't really have an excuse to not keep trying. Not exactly what I was imagining, but it should look perfectly good from 3 feet away. Kind of forgot about the tassels for a second. Now that we're getting the red on, I'm really beginning to actually really like the whole thing, how it's gonna look as a cohesive whole. Funny how that works out. We're always told when it comes to miniatures, contrast, contrast, contrast. And the brightness of the red popping off against the black and kind of foiling against the orange and white we have with the lava, it's working for me. I mean, it's not a new combination by any means, but it's nice that the simple things are always going to stand out like that. I'm finding myself pleasantly surprised by how much I like the completed product. As prophesized, I did forget that front bit of shoulder. We're just gonna fix that real quick. I did end up adding a watered down layer of fluorescent orange on the lava lines. I like the slight pop that it gives. Not too shabby. We need something visually busy to cover up this ugly spot here, so flames. Okay, I know this isn't flames. I don't even know what color I wanted. I just picked one and tossed it on. So here we are. Flames coming up. If you pass out alone in a pig pen, they will eat you. Is it pretty ugly? Yeah. Is it done? Also, yeah. I don't know how I broke my mic. Maybe it was updating the software, and now it just sounds tinny and different and weird, and I don't know. We're trying new things, and these things happen. You ever just blow up a bottle of paint? Like just explode it? I mean, it's actually a complete and total miracle that the Mini itself only had a little streak on it, and the shield, totally untouched. Crazy stuff. Eventually, this shield is going to have some bad writing on it. I had some Monument Burnt Red hanging out on my palette, so I mixed it with some medium just to glaze it over. It was really easy, and I'm really happy with the way those eyes turned out. Shortcuts. This is the part where I blob on a slightly lighter paint to try to give an illusion of volumetric highlights. The problem is, I'm terrible at highlights, so it's kind of just poking around and hoping for the best. I do want it to be more grimdark than less, so while the highlights aren't popping off, we're gonna call that intentional. I think the edge lighting helps without being overwhelming. It was as I was painting these details that I realized that they're all supposed to connect to that little chest shield that we tossed away in the very beginning of the process here. It's too late to go back now. So Sometimes wax gets squished. It's okay. The reason this Salamander has an Imperial Fist hammer is because he's actually a Blood Raven. This is intentional, it was always going to be intentional, and has nothing to do with my overwhelming mediocrity that haunts me. The weathering pencils make a return. I really like these things. You just have to wet down the surface you're using, and then they write just like a pencil. Doesn't make my freehand script any prettier, but it was a little easier than a brush. If for whatever reason you're still here 16 and a half minutes in, consider subscribing. It helps, and hey, you were already here. I've long since come to terms with the fact that I'm never going to be a Da Vinci at blending. That makes things like, for example, a molten power hammer, pretty hard to pull off, but these are my tiny plastic army men, and by God, he will have a molten hammer. This is my favorite part, when you add the darkest color next to some bright buildup. Mediocre or not, it's still gonna look pretty convincingly like it's glowing, and I will happily take that result. Not bad at all. Great job, me. I'm a pretty lazy baser. I'm a lazy painter overall, but let's just slap things together, throw on some coats, see what happens. You gotta let basing materials dry for a hot minute. I went with overnight. For some baffling reason, I dry brushed brown on this. It did nothing for me. We'll use a couple different shades of gray to see if we can break up the monotony of the base. When in doubt, drench in oil wash. You can wipe off what you don't want later, so it's very flexible, a nice shortcut. We'll let that dry for about half an hour. Let's do some cleanup. Muted, bland, and grimdark. It's high time our Terminator captain finally came all together into one piece. I melted some paint off with the plastic glue, but that's okay. It's cool to finally see him in one piece painted up, and, you know, it's nice that it's final. Just kidding, oil wash. Since the helmet's a build-up to white, we're not going to touch any of that paint. What the fuck? We're going to put a wash on the helmet as well, just for that additional depth. This captain now just needs to dry. He dried. forgot these lights. We're just gonna hit a few edges and bolts with this pencil. Good enough. Keeping with our dull and sad theme, we're just gonna add in a few scorched tuft bits. And finally, a black rim. And after a weirdly long process, here is the final product. It doesn't really match what I had in my head at the beginning, but I'm still pretty happy with it. Next to the much brighter Salamander Terminator 1.0, I do like how this one is far more grimdark. Even if he's a little dull, it feels more grounded. Our captain looks right at home next to our Infernus Marine. I've spent so much time talking into the mic for this video. Please enjoy my silence and this end gag. Okay, bye.